right, so I'm gonna share the higher time frame entry model for those that don't want to get tied down to the 5 minute and using the absorption technique. I'm gonna show you how you can validate your SNR levels, A and V levels on the H4, take the entry on the H4, um, and then your targets using the 12 hour. So very simple on the 12 hour, I am using Bollinger Bands. The length is on 20. It's just the standard Bollinger Bands. Yeah, it's the default settings. And then I'm using the SMA on the length is 3, the source is close, the offset is 1. And basically, how I'm using that is when a candle, example here with a bullish candle, it opens inside of the SMA. That's an early signal that price is going along. In this instance, we had a rejection of the middle Bollinger Band, close inside. Now I'm looking for shorts on the next 12-hour candle towards the previous 12-hour candle lows as my targets and take profits. So very, very simple. I'm using the Bollinger Bands as potential reversal points, as you can see in the history. As soon as price rejects off the low Bollinger Band and opens inside the SMA, I know that the next target is going to be the middle Bollinger Band, potentially the high, but at a minimum over there, the middle Bollinger Band is my profit target. The same over here, we opened inside the SMA, confirming short. First target is uh, the the low Bollinger Band, which aligns with previous 12-hour lows. All these lows are potential targets for me to take profit. So that's I'm using the 12 hour, and then I'm looking to take the entry on the 4 hour without using the 5 minute, using the 4 hour as my entry on the way down. So I'll look at this price action on two trades that you could have taken over here to target the lows on the 12 hour. So indicators that I'm using here is the first is the SMA set to 1 close, no offset, and that's just to give me my A and V level. So instead of me having to toggle between the line chart and the candlesticks, I now have the line chart overlaying um, on the candles, so I can easily mark my A and V levels. Then I've got the BBMA for those who like the BBMA. This is BBMA by Omar Ali. Weighted moving average on 10, which is the high. Weighted moving average 10 low. There's a mistake on the indicator, that should be low. So those are the two black lines over here, and you'll see how, not specifically on this instance, but you'll see how price actually bounces off these levels when we are either on the downside or going on the upside. We take the low for when we're taking buys, we look at the low moving average. When we're taking sells, we look at the high moving average aligned with SNR levels as well as my volume. Now, the second thing, a lot of people had a little bit of struggle with identifying low volume nodes by plotting the profile. It is a bit subjective. So this is an indicator, and this one is called volume profile by, it's low volume with HV and LVN detector by Mad Puppy 88, and the settings are on 1 week. So I'm using the weekly profile. Low volume nodes on 10, set to areas, and then basically I am sorry, got a little bit distracted there. This basically plots the previous week's volume profile, low volume nodes on the current week. So these gray areas are last week's low volume nodes, and these gray areas over here are the previous week's low volume nodes, the previous weeks. And now I'm no longer using the current developing low volume nodes. I'm just using the previous week. So basically what I'm doing now is I'm looking for SNR levels aligned with the low volume nodes of the previous week. So this over here was a beautiful sell over there, from that level aligned with the low volume nodes, and so we can target I I am using 150 point, 150, 150. My word, I'm using a 15 point stop loss because this is futures. And then you can target the previous lows. Now I've got an indicator here, the previous OHLC, which you can turn everything off and just use the custom one to 12 hours using the high and the low. I've taken off the labels, um, and you can just pause to find my settings. But now basically what I'm doing is all these lows are previous 12-hour candle lows. So these are all targets um, where you can take profit. I've set it to only give me the previous five so that the chart is not full of lines. But if you look on the 12-hour, all of these are targets. So that's a target over there. And this is eventually the target where price reaches. So this is the first trade that you could have taken, right? Price into the low volume node aligned with the A level. There you take the short down. That's 11R. And then today, coming into the session, um, there was no A levels that aligned uh, with volume except this one over here. So that was your trade. And now once again got 150 point or 15 point stop loss. You can do the math on the CFDs, and then you can target the previous 12-hour low, which is this low over here, 2.6R trade. And that was the trade this morning. So if there are any questions, you're welcome to send me a DM, welcome to comment. For any questions, I'm willing to answer. I hope this makes sense. Very, very simple, very easy. See you next time.